This is Get Informed with Wajih. I am Wajih Lion. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got a special one for you today. And after a long day with doctors yesterday, and then saying goodbye to my friend that was here helping me out with the podcast and giving him some last tours in the Twin Cities. It was nice to see some good friends. It was nice to be busy with people you care about. And now we can be a little extra focus on the podcast, an extra focus on what we will be producing. Great news for everyone. Professor Deborah Shushan will be coming on our podcast this coming Friday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be discussing the latest updates regarding the Middle East and giving you the latest analysis about the details. I got to so much complaints about my sound in the previous episode. I thought everything was plugged in. Let's see. Now that's better. What's going on? Not working. Hmm. Um, let's try this. Okay. I know what the problem is. Technology. Every time you fix something, you have to fix something else. I found the problem. How does that sound? Better? I hope this sounds better. Well, we have, like I said, we have some breaking news. Let's start with the latest updates. If you are just joining us, here's a recap of the latest development in the region. The Qatar Foreign Ministry spokesman Amjad Al Ansari says that countries mediating between Iran and the United States are waiting for Iran and Oman to announce an expected agreement on the Strait of Hormuz before pushing Washington and Tehran to resume negotiation aimed at ending their war. This is really big news, and it gives us a lot of information, but you have to read between the lines. Why is this a big deal? Trump came out yesterday or the day before yesterday and threatened to bomb the shit ever living out of Oman for the second time. Oman, one of the oldest U.S. allies in its history, is an American friend, was a mediator on behalf of the United States with Iran. Yet, Gulf states and U.S. allies are dependent on Oman to make some sort of agreement with Iran regarding the Strait of Hormuz. So the rest of the goddamn rest of the Gulf states can move their goods out of the Strait of Hormuz and make a basic living at this point, because they would be just covering the costs of all the damages that has happened. Before even considering to sit down and resolving the US Iran war. That also tells you they have way more hope in talks between Iranians and Omanis before having any hope between talks between Trump and the Iranians. Why focus on something you can't fix when you can focus on something you can fix? But here's the issue. Iran keeps saying we can make an agreement with Oman regarding the Strait of Hormuz, but as long as Trump doesn't stop his blockade, you can forget about it. Forget about it. As long as Trump is doing what he's doing, the Iranians will fuck all the rest of the world economy. But the administration doesn't care. The administration doesn't care. What they really care about is how uh, they come out of this victorious, regardless of the costs to the American and the global economy, the cost of U.S. diplomacy, the cost of the alliances, the cost of military, everything. Yesterday, I was watching videos of U.S. soldiers in the military turning against Trump. I shared two of the videos I saw, and I thought they're important. Now, I got real backfire for one of them, and I understand why a lot of you were upset. But I wasn't promoting religion. I wasn't promoting far right ideology. All I was doing is bringing attention to the fact that Christian nationalists, Christian supremacists, far right organizers, and even members of the US military that supported Trump blindly now are calling for a coup, which is a big deal. You don't have to agree with his God first, whatever the rest. You don't have to agree with his Christian nationalism. The fact is, it's news. It's breaking news regarding current issues and soldiers that are being sent to the Middle East and fight a war. That gives you an insight to an actual mindset of your current soldiers, regardless if you agree with them or not. Understanding how your soldiers feel and think at a certain point gives you some sort of understanding of the current uh, conditioning of the U.S. military when it comes to fighting another war. So when you sit down and you hear a U.S. soldier turn against their president, and it's not one, not two, but even the ones on the far right, even the ones who are considering national Christian nationalists, even the ones who are asking for a Christian crusade, you're like, oh, hold on. Damn, that's a big deal. Damn. Why? Really? Trump? You all of a sudden, really? You just woke up? Okay. Wasn't I telling you guys in order to win the next election, you have to work with people you disagree with? Didn't I tell you guys in order to change this whole regime, you're going to have to put some of your differences aside and work with people you really have nothing to do agree with. But that's the situation you're in. Otherwise, you're agreeing to a civil war. I'm not asking you to love each other, kiss each other, make out, and become girlfriends and boyfriends. That's not what I'm calling for. I'm calling for a national unity to fight a strong man, to bring justice to the world. This is a gotta be give and take. You don't have to believe in his God first. I mean, Muslim nationalists in the United States that I know call for Sharia law. If I shared a video of that, would you tell me, keep your fucking God of my religion? Sure, you would tell me that. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a Christian. I'm not pushing any of these ideologies. I believe in separation of religion and state. I don't know how to make that clear. I mean, this is a big reason why I left Saudi Arabia. There's a reason I'm running away from religious law. I hate theocracy. This is one thing you have to understand. But when I post things, that doesn't mean I support whatever the message that's being said. I'm not promoting, I'm sharing news, I'm sharing mindset. You need to understand the status quo of your active military soldiers. Why? Because they're the ones fighting. They're the ones fighting. You don't have to agree with them, but they're the ones at the battlefield. I hope that makes more sense. I hope that you guys understand what I was trying to do. But if you still disagree with me, I understand. I guess for some, like, imagine this. Imagine Saudi soldiers who believe in Sharia law all of a sudden make out video and they're like, well, and, the king is no longer fit enough to be a religious leader. That's breaking news. Saudi soldiers who believe in Sharia law in a country where they have a king, all of a sudden calling the king unfit to rule because he's not ruling by religion. That's similar to what you're having. There's something called comparative politics. It's a type of political science study. Once you get to and learn about different world politics, something that becomes helpful for you to use is to compare what if this same exact situation happened somewhere else, and then compare the reaction from one place to another. It gives you a better way of understanding a problem and it gives you a different perspective. And when you do that, you're like, damn, that's actually quite interesting. Because I've seen Saudi soldiers come out and say shit about the Saudi king like that. And then they had to leave the country and become political dissidents in Europe. And now that's all they do. That's an actual thing. I've seen it happen. And when it happened, it was breaking news, in Arabic at least. Maybe it's a different perspective. Of course, fundamentalists are fundamentalists. I mean, like Saudi Islamic nationalists in the military. That guy is a Islamic nationalist, but it was still breaking news. Like it is big deal when your base group turns against you. We saw members of the political party turn against Trump, but we never seen members of the U.S. military turn against Trump. Meanwhile, it's like Americans thinking that we have the greatest country until they compare their benefits with Scandinavian countries. U.S. president, I think I got a block or two because of that from even from paid subscribers. I'm like, you didn't even have to hear what I had to say about this. Well, I understand. Some people react fast, and that's okay. But again, I'm trying to bring awareness, and I'm trying to create a movement for people that want to look into nuances, that want to understand mindsets, that are willing to get out of their comfortable shoes and try to think, what does it feel like to be a dictator? What does it feel like to be a far right member? What does it feel like to be a member of a cult? Because if you don't take yourself out of these comfortable situations and start thinking and putting yourself in these shoes, you will continue to lose the chess game. If you don't do that, you continue to underestimate your allies. You continue to underestimate. You see, I made a video saying you have to understand your enemy to win a war, and I got a strike on YouTube for that apparently, and I'm still trying to figure out why YouTube gave me a strike for that. And YouTube is like, well, that just breaks our policy. I'm like, could you point out where it breaks the policy? So now I have to be careful about. You have to understand your enemy to be to defeat them. That's just basic principles of chess. There's something called the principle of behind the veil. Fuck racism. I'm not promoting racism. There's difference between promoting racism and pulling out news. You don't think I'm like being discriminated against on a daily basis for my race, ethnicity, language? You don't think it's very painful for me to take a step back and try to be like, what does it feel like to be like the Crown Prince Bonsa, Mohammed bin Salman? I have to. How do you want me to be a good analyst without taking myself out of my comfort zone and thinking like these people? You have to start thinking like these people for a second or two. I'm not telling you to become them. It is uncomfortable. But unless you want to have a dialogue, unless you want to fix problems, I continue saying fighting ideas is not with guns, is not with laws, it's with another idea. And that's how we continue to lose the fight against extremist ideologies. Malcolm agrees with me. Dexter Ingram agrees with me. And guess what? Who's an extremist ideology and who agreed with me regarding the far right in the United States? I asked Dexter Ingram, wouldn't you say that far right organizations and members of Al Qaeda have more in common? He said, yes. I said, wouldn't you agree that fighting extremist ideologies is not with guns, with ideas? He goes, yes. Then how do you want to have that conversation? And you didn't even get out of your comfortable shoes. I'm sorry, that's just lazy thinking. Your cancel culture is not doing shit. It's only isolating more extremists to become more extremists. So whatever stupid feelings you got about this, you need to get out of it. If you're feeling some sort of way because you saw someone that you really disagreed with, that's not my problem. If you got some type of issue controlling your emotions, I'm sorry. So take a second, think about the interviews I've done, think about the people I've met, think about where I was and where I am, and think about why I'm telling you this shit. There's more to the story than just someone disagreeing with you or someone that just says preaching their own religion on this. This is more important. You see people in a cult, you attack them. Okay. You think when you attack someone in a cult, that person sees you as someone that they can have a dialogue with? No, you become an automatic enemy. I don't know if you heard Malcolm the other day talk on his podcast. He goes, one time I was in a mission in Afghanistan and I was talking to this terrorist wanted by the United States. All I had to do to prove myself was try to recite the Quran. And when you recite the Quran, you have to do something in Islam. You have to sing it. So he was trying to sing it. The Imam, the terrorist, saw that and was like, oh my God, this is a potential Muslim. His heart all of a sudden softened, answered every single question Malcolm had and even more. Malcolm came out with all the information he needed. Did he pull out a gun? Did he kill him? Things come out when you do something softly. So, next time you see someone you disagree with, try to understand everything they say, even though you disagree with it. Get to know their motives, get to know why, get to know how, get to know all the details. And no one's telling you to agree with it. But that's basic information you need to know in order to have any dialogue. I don't know if you had debate and forensics in the United States, but I was taught some of these basics just in American schools. I'm surprised many of you don't know that shit. Also in missionary style, yes. Anyways, the US president also made a post that really drives a wedge into this political arena. And it really shows that he is trying to fight back the Iranian propaganda machine, but he's losing it because he's not hiring actual people that know how to do propaganda. I mean, Saudi Arabia has a official ministry that does real propaganda. The UAE has an actual ministry that does that. The rest of the dictatorships do. Iran has experience doing that. But Trump, the United States had this type of machine before, and it was Hollywood. Here's what Trump does. He posted an image on social media that proclaimed that the Strait of Hormuz is a new U.S. territory in response to the foreign deputy minister, Galabaf, that called Trump delusional. If Trump made a movie about making the Strait of Hormuz a U.S. territory, it would have delivered the better message than all of this conflict, even if we disagreed with it. But it feels like Trump wanted just a fake victory at this point. And if he wanted a fake victory, he could have made a fake movie. Just like what the US does all the time, making fake movies, destroying all the type of dictators around the world. The Hollywood is good at that. But I don't know why Trump felt like he needed to make this a little bit realistic. Iran has an active bounty on every single US soldier for $30,000. An average Iranian makes about $300 a month, $400 a month to $1,000 a month maximum. Good income. Imagine you get 30,000. You can buy a home, you can buy a car, you're set for a wedding, you're all good. That means all your family members that are serving, fathers, daughters, mothers, sisters, brothers, all who are serving is now as an official target by the Iranian government. And I don't think that that rule has borderlines, not in the Gulf or not in the West or not in the East. I feel like, or I believe that this law would apply to any U.S. soldier across the world. And that's a very dangerous thing to do. Administration has officially made all U.S. personnel a target of the Iranian government. And the administration is fighting this type of war. Let me show you. This is what Trump is fighting. This is his propaganda. I don't know. I bet you that was made by AI as well. Meanwhile, Islam Abdo, media director at Al Jazeera Ministry of Prisoners and Freed Prisoners, says scabins and other diseases are spreading among Palestinian prisoners and detainees in Israeli jails. warning of a serious health catastrophe. Meanwhile, I mean, this just tells you again, Israel probably wants that disease to be spreading and probably would put their soldiers in hazmat suits and just deal with the Palestinians getting sick. If you haven't heard Ben Gavir, he said assassinations should be carried out on regular basis in Gaza at night. Ben Gavir also said that he wants to hang all the Palestinian prisoners. So why wouldn't be surprised that the Israelis would want something like this to spread in Israeli prisons? The Syria's foreign ministry has strongly condemned Israeli airstrikes on the Abu al-Durra military airport in Idlib province, describing them as an unjustified act of aggression, a blunt violation of Syrian sovereignty and territorial integrity, and a dangerous escalation threatening regional security stability. Israel has not yet commented on the matter. The reality is here is that when you have a situation like this, you have to analyze what is actually happening. I keep saying that, right? But what is actually happening? Israel attacked what? They attacked the air base itself. They attacked the runway. But if we think about it, what kind of danger does the Syrian Air Force has on any of its neighboring country, nevertheless Israel? It's nothing. Even during Bashar al-Assad, right? He was only able to use it against his own people. He wasn't able to use it against neighboring countries. He wasn't able to use it against Israel. He wasn't able to use it to kick out the occupied territories. He used it to bomb his own people because his people don't have the tools necessary to defend themselves. If Israel wanted, they are already keeping track of all of these planes. As soon as one takes off, they can hit it because it would have taken off. As soon as um, you're watching this, I'm not. As soon as the uh, Israelis want to have even a dogfight, these planes wouldn't stand a chance. So why destroy them? I feel like this has more to do with Israeli elections than anything else. Netanyahu, Ben Gvir are trying to show a strong line of we are hard on any and all of our neighbors. We'll destroy anything and everything. I don't know. It just seems like that for me. It does not seem like something designed for resolving an issue or actually ending an actual danger. The mayor of Qusra says 3 Palestinian families have now been besieged in their homes for 10 days. in Ras Al Ain area in the occupied West Bank. He said messages received by municipal council indicate that these traps and their homes will face serious shortages of food, medicine, and within the coming days. If you don't know, recently Israeli settlers, with the large support of the Israeli government, have been doing a siege over siege for Palestinian houses, robbing their livestock, destroying their farmland, destroying their trees, burning them, killing their animals, and if they could steal their even homes with whatever in it, or destroying their homes and building something over it. And this has been intensifying over the last 2 weeks. Not a lot of media talking about it, but the situation is getting dire to the point that the U.S. ambassador to Israel has called them terrorists. That never has happened. Additionally, the United States has sent Jared Kushner to sit down with Netanyahu, and he sat down with Netanyahu. Somehow they came out very optimistic, but with no details about what the plan is regarding Gaza. Because Trump came out with a 14-point plan, the Hamas terrorist groups actually said, "Oh yeah, we'll agree to it," and Israel was like, "Fuck no, no, thank you." So at this point, I don't know. I don't think this issue is gonna get resolved anytime soon, and the war in Iran is gonna be there for at least 6 more months. 33 minutes ago, the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has said that officials for their efforts during has praised officials for their efforts during what he described as an imposed war in Ramadan, saying they created a golden chapter of resistance and resilience and service to the people. Trump is saying that the U.S. is having no talks with Iran. That's a first. But we already knew that because the Gulf states said there is no talks between the U.S. and Iran until Iran and Oman figure out their differences regarding the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, Trump threatened to bomb Oman if they have made a deal with the Iranians. The other funny thing is that the Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, said that the U.S. objective and the war was to force Iran to surrender, but we will not surrender. Now, I'm quoting, is now America is now begging to negotiate us according to our conditions. He said to he said the memorandum of understanding signed in the US with the US, the 13th provision in our favor and one in theirs, according to Israel, of doing anything it could to sabotage and prevent the implementation. Quoting here again, we won the war and we also won the diplomacy, and we forced the enemy to accept our conditions. He said, adding that Iran's military and battlefield capabilities were what gave us its diplomatic strength and the negotiation. Again, if anyone would say anything about Iran, is that their nuclear weapon is the Strait of Hormuz more powerful than an actual nuclear bomb. Uh, and that is something that a lot of people do not understand. Now, Iran has recognized itself as the new controller of the Strait of Hormuz. Without the Iranians, no Strait of Hormuz. Therefore, all of the Gulf states are looking for the all inconvenient and expensive options to get their oils out of the Middle East, even if it costs them a lot of money, because they no longer want to be dependent on just one strait to get their oil sold. So now they're hiring a whole bunch of consultants. They're figuring out what they could do just to make sure that they can get their oil moving and no longer depend on the Strait of Hormuz. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. This war has permanently changed the Middle East. It changed if not the world, permanently changed the world. It is no longer the same. This world, starting from February, has dramatically changed. And if you're just starting to notice, good morning. Good morning to you. Drink your coffee. Drink your coffee. All of the alliances that you have known are beginning to change. All of the economic agreements that is known, Trump has agreed on, has canceled on. Khalas. Someone said I needed that reminder to drink my coffee. If you don't know, at the moment, there are 850, the UN Refugee Agency says there is more than 850,000 Lebanese displaced by months of Israeli strikes and bombing have returned homes. This is some, but warns the crisis is far from over. This is 860,000. They estimate that there's at least 360,000 remains. Including 22,000 people living in collective shelters, other reports living in with relatives over crowded recent apartments. So, some are lucky to live with their extended family. Some are returning to their homes in a war, in during this war, while Israel is bombing their homes. They're just forced to. Where else do you want them to go? And 360,000 people are still houseless. I think there's more. I think there's more, but that's what the report says. Qatar Ministry of Foreign Affairs have condemned a drone attack on the office of the Prime Minister of the Iraqi Kurdistan region government on Monday, describing it as a blunt violation of the sovereignty of the Republic of Iraq and the Kurdistan region of Iraq, as well as a flagrant breach of the rules of international law. The attack targeted not just the office of Kurdish Prime Minister, but also the head of the semi autonomous Iraqi region security and intelligence agency. In a statement on Tuesday, Qatar also stressed the need to spare the region the the repression of these unjustified attacks and maintain the course of dialogue, diplomacy, and de escalation, thereby contributing to the consolidation of security and stability at both the regional and international level. On Monday, the Kurdistan Counterterrorism Service said in a statement cited by Iraq state news agency that two Hadid 110 drone were involved in an attack within the intelligence and security agency said that they were launched from Iranian territory without clarifying whether the drones hit their targets or not. But this is just to show that Iran is just targeting everyone, not just Gulf states. Everyone is a target now. Not just the Saudis, not just the Gulf states, not just the Emiratis. If you have any collaboration with any Western country, you could be next. So you better start making love with Iran. At least so that's the Iranian message. Iran's like, I'm the new girlfriend now. See if you guys have any questions. Sorry for interrupting. Where's Malcolm? Malcolm podcast was earlier. Yeah, this is my Q&A. I'm going all the way up. Oh wow, so many questions today. Morning, Wajid. How's your shoulder? My shoulder is okay. Yesterday was regarding my right hand. I have something called complex regional pain syndrome, and I used to have a staph infection in my right wrist, and I've done 10 surgeries, but I was having some issues and I needed to follow up. So things went well. I'm seeing one of the best doctors in the world. Very lucky. He's very nice. He's a doctor at the Mayo Clinic, and he's a doctor at the U.S. Air Force. Kind of impressive. Not every day you see service members working at the Mayo Clinic, but every time I see him, we have good conversations. I do worry that you are sharing those things might hurt your citizenship effort. At all concerned? Oh, I'm concerned. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. I have actually my regarding my citizenship. Today I have one of my first meeting with one of the first lawyers to interview them, and so they could interview me to see if this is a good fit. So I have my first consultation today. Wish me luck. And well, considered one of the best lawyers in town. Works with a lot of people with asylum. So hopefully this everything gets worked out and stuff. What did you miss? Oh my God, so much. Maybe you needed to be fundamentalist to turn against Trump and stand for truth. No, you don't need to be a fundamentalist to turn against Trump, but it's a big deal when fundamentalists that supported Trump turned against Trump. Opponent is weakest when they believe that they have won. That is a correct statement. Yes. More than name murder to deny people food, water, shelter, and medical care. These are war crimes. Unfortunately, Republicans seem to disagree. How do we talk to people like that? Unfortunately, it's not just Republicans. Um, Hardcore Israeli supporters are there everywhere. There are Arab Israeli diehard supporters. There are American Israeli diehard supporters. There are liberal Israeli hard die supporters. There are conservative Israeli hard supporters. You can't deny that that exists. Putting one party responsible for that is incorrect. There are many Democratic representatives and senators supporting Israel directly. I'm very proud of it. The issue here is that there are people who are indoctrinated into a cult of Zionism. When Deborah Amos was on my podcast, the former seasoned NPR journalist, former journalism professor at Columbia, and currently a resident professor of something very special at Penn University for journalism, prestigious school for journalism. She said when the world was watching the Israeli horror stories in Gaza, the Israeli media kept their people absolutely in the dark. That's just the truth. You can't tell me that there are people purposely are in the dark, not understanding and not knowing what is happening inside of Gaza. That's something that's actually there. If you watch Israelis, especially kids and adults, sit down and watch some of the debates that happen online over TikTok, just simple Israeli minds, you're not talking about actual debaters, you'll realize how much people are actually indoctrinated and just genuinely believe that all of these Palestinians are terrorists, and all of these Palestinians want to commit crime, and all of these Palestinians want to kill all the Israelis. And therefore, the only solution for that is to kill them all. Again, I remind the listeners you have to step back and start thinking like someone you disagree with and start understanding how things got into that point from their own perspective in order for you to have a better reaction or in order for you to strategize for something better. So when I learned that Israel is purposely keeping its own people ignorant and pushing its own propaganda and brainwashing its own people, don't you think that there will be people out here also on the Israeli propaganda machine? Of course. But the other dangerous step here is what it is not only doing that, they're doing even one more dangerous step than that. They are spying and blackmailing. Now, U.S. has been spying on its all of its allies for a long time. Even during the Obama administration, there was big news that NSA was spying on German Chancellor and U.S. allies, text messages, leaders, including the French president or whatever. Many were people involved. So the United States has just been spying. But Israel is taking that to another step. They're spying and blackmailing, meaning I'm going to find out all U.S. representatives, senators, appointed positions. I want to spy on all of them, and I'll find all their weaknesses and make them do what is in my best interest. Now, you tell me if that's a matter of national security or not. Now, you tell me if that violates your sovereignty or not. So you have people who are actually, what do you call it, compromised. They're absolutely compromised as an official in the United States. So before you even talk to people about these ideas, right, you need to know what is happening. You need to know why it's happening. So when you talk to someone who's indoctrinated, you should be interviewing them more than you should be convincing them. It's more like an interview at that point. Think of yourself as a journalist. Oh, yes, tell me about this. Oh, tell me about that. What do you think should happen? Well, why do you think that should happen? And then after you understand everything that you disagreed with, you have a dialogue about it. Don't you think that this should be this? This should be that? Don't you think killing innocent kids is bad? Oh, really? You think all kids are bad? Okay, that's interesting. You just saying interesting, you don't have to yell at them. You asking these questions stick in the audience's head, stink with the people's head that you're talking to. And if it doesn't change their mind now, it changes their mind later. I don't know if you know how these things work, but let me tell you about my story. I was in Manhattan High, Manhattan, Kansas. I had a girl from a foreign exchange student as well, from Sweden or Switzerland. Forgot. It's one of these two. Great personality, great enthusiasm, was loved by everyone. Nothing wrong, right? But one time I was in an English class and I'm indoctrinated into Islamic extremist ideology at that point. I was asked a simple question because at the time it was still not legal. It was still being discussed. I was still in the closet. I was still self hating. The question was, do you think marriage equality should be legal? My answer was no. Based on Islamic belief, a man and a woman should be married, and that's it. That's what is natural. Because Muslims will believe that God creates everything perfect. And even the animals, right? God creates them perfect to worship Him as well. So many of the religious clerks would come out and say, have you seen a rooster screw a rooster, a male dog screw a male dog? That would never happen. So I was using the same excuse. Have you seen a dog messing with a dog? She said, yeah. I said, what? Have you seen a rooster mess with a rooster? She said, yeah. Look it up. My whole like wall fell apart. Did I believe her right away? No. Did I agree with her right away? No. But years later, I became the first openly gay man from Saudi Arabia. Now I'm the first openly queer, not gay, but doesn't matter. I became from a potential extremist to one of the most liberal people in the world. It was just, yeah, look it up. We didn't have a relationship at all after that. We didn't talk, we didn't communicate. I sent her a message a few years back saying, thank you. You broke the Berlin Wall for me. The point of a dialogue isn't now, this moment, this second, because people don't process all the information at once. People need time to accept reality. People need time to question everything they have been told and believed in. They need to research. They need to look at with their own eyes, even if you showed them all the evidence. Here's the thing that liberals keep missing. When you talk to people that believe with their heart, their emotions, your facts don't mean shit. Your Wikipedia doesn't mean shit. Your scientific evidence doesn't mean shit. Because their ability to have critical thinking has already been damaged. So your tool of communication is already incorrect. The way you're talking to this person is incorrect. You're not even beginning in the right direction. They're believing with emotions. Do you talk to them with facts? No. You start with emotional. Imagine your boyfriend is pissed off at you, your girlfriend is pissed off at you. Do you get pissed off at them? You calm the situation down. Calm down, Habibi. Let me bring you some ice cream. Here's some flowers. Do you want some water? Let me make you some tea. Let's take a walk outside. Let me buy you some dinner. Whatever that calms the goddamn situation. In Arabic, we have a saying, don't talk before you feed someone. Once you feed someone, you have softened their heart, you have softened their emotions, you have showed them hospitality, you have welcomed them to your home, you have broken so many ice barriers, you can have talks. Even in grassroots organizing, there's something called agitation. What is this YG agitation bullshit you're talking about? Let me tell you. When you want to include people in your organization, there's several things you want to do. You want to get to know them. You want to become their friend. You want to create a connection. And then after that, there's something called agitation. When you become someone's connection, when you become close to this person, when you start understanding who they are, things come up that sometimes raise question marks. So sometimes you need to rub a metal to tell what it really is. Rub it. It's called agitation. Clothes don't get clean until they get agitated. You put it in the washer, you put some soap, the water in the soap gets agitated with the clothes, the dirty shit comes out. Do you agitate someone you don't know? No. If I go to this, what is agitation? So I see some things that are wrong with what you're doing. One of the biggest things that were wrong with me when I was starting to organize is I take a lot of space in a room. As a grassroots organizer, when I first started, I would sit in a room and I would want all my ideas to come out first. Nothing wrong with my ideas, but the thing is, I came from a male run society. I was taught that in order for your voice to be heard, you have to push. I was in a room filled with testosterone. You can smell it off the street. So anything that you wanted, you had to compete with other men. Everything was aggressive. Here, I was sitting with a room full of diversity, full of different people, different colors, different ethnicity, males, female. And we were all fighting for the same cause. Yet I felt like I had to say my things first just because I was the way I was raised. So the agitation that was done to me was mostly in the beginning regarding how much space I take. Who was agitating me? One of my closest colleagues at the workplace. Go to a coffee shop, go to a bar, have a private corner, have a conversation. Waji, you are a great person. We love this about you. We love that about you. We think you're amazing. Here's what you do good. We have some feedback for you. You are taking a lot of space. This is why you don't take a lot of space, because everyone has amazing ideas. Everyone wants to share their ideas. And when you take all the space, a lot of people feel, uh, and because they're not extroverted, they're introverted, they feel scared to share their ideas or don't have a chance to share their ideas. Time is limited. You can't take all the time. So, like that type of agitation, if someone that I don't know came to me and said that, "Yeah, who the fuck are you talking to? Who the fuck are you talking to?" But someone doesn't know, someone that becomes your friend, it becomes easy. You have that dialogue, tells you gotta fix some things. Okay, thank you. I used to go around and say everywhere, it's, you don't like me because this and that. You don't like me because I'm gay. Oh, you don't like, or I would go anywhere and introduce myself first thing as the first openly gay guy from Saudi Arabia or first openly queer person from Saudi Arabia. And that was another part of the uh, agitation. Why is that so important? It wasn't an issue, but it was just, why is that so important? So there was a lot of getting to know who the fuck you are. Even when you want to be a grassroots organizer, working with people you agree with. Well, damn, what is it like to work with people you don't agree with then? We need to do a little more digging into communication skills. We need to do a little more digging. One of my friends from high school, her dad was my professor and I didn't know at the time. After I graduated high school, he became my professor. Professor Di Paola, a nuclear laser physicist, used to be an advisor for Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. In fact, he gifted me his fountain pen. It's right here. He learned that I like collecting fountain pens, and after my radio talk show at the university or something, he brought it out and gave it to me, and it's all silver. I thought that was quite cool. I believe it's Parker. Yeah, it's Parker. You can tell Parker by the feather. Always. Parker likes to make feather clips. Anyways, uh, why did I bring him up? I had him on my podcast. Oh, because his daughter does a lot of work for the government. She's a liberal person, but her job is to meet everyone and anyone that is working in the environment, including people that she strongly disagree with, hard hardcore conservatives. Well, you want to live in a bubble? That's just not reality. You can't fit everyone in a single goddamn box. That's the whole thing we're trying to explain to you. Did you see Don Lennon recent yesterday interview with the psychiatrist Elliot Connie? Nuances and clear breakdowns, a public example of what entrenched thinking. People and that chat really got the picture and learned a lot. That's really good. Thank you so much. I have to look that up today. Is there a way to get a transcript of the chat? So far, not that I know of. What is the best case scenario for the United States at this point? To retreat. That's it. Accept to lose and walk away. Walk away with some of your pride intact instead of falling totally apart. The UAE just released 3 minutes ago a statement saying the UAE Defense Ministry says its air defense system have detected a missile threat, according to a post on X. The country's interior ministry has also issued a phone alert for potential missile threat, the first such warning in months. Due to our current situation, potential missile threat, immediately seek a safe place and the closest secure building, the Interior Ministry have said in an alert. Meanwhile, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has inaugurated a major road named after him in the Ariel settlement, which is a settlement on the occupied West Bank uh, district. Netanyahu Road is part of a plan by the Israeli government to construct 12,000 new units to expand the number of settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory to 100,000. About retaliating? They shouldn't be retaliating anymore. How are you going to continue to retaliate when you can't even afford to retaliate? They should just retreat. As simple as that. Like, genuinely, get the fuck out. Just take a loss. You wouldn't be doing nothing bad to the world if you got out now. In fact, you everything good would happen, like Trump likes to say. Absolutely nothing. Just get the fuck out. Exactly. Pull the troops out and just leave. Like, I don't know. Like, imagine you embarrass yourself in front of the whole school. Like, do you make more embarrassment of yourself, or do you just leave? No, you just leave quietly. They do need to make Trump feel good about himself with this war, but for how long? The reality is, our Congress is giving up its second right. It's giving up its rights. Our Congress, that's supposed to act as check and balance, is not doing its job. Let's be very honest and clear here. There are people that are supposed to be doing a specific job, putting the US president in check, making sure he's not abusing his power, making sure he wouldn't be using a nuclear weapon for no reason, making sure he wouldn't be wasting all the US stockpile, making sure that he's not using US taxpayer money on a war that's worthless, making sure that he's not ruining all US alliances. And yet, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Because people in office for the US Congress and Senate only cares about getting reelected. I don't want to hear my Democrats, minority Democrats are not controlling the House and the Senate. Who gives a damn? If you can't see the extreme situation that we are in right now, and you're not doing something extreme, and your job is to be a representative and a senator, then you're not doing your job. Period. Giving anyone an excuse for not doing shit at this moment is not helping the situation. No one needs an excuse for not doing shit about this. No one. Like, what you want the nuclear war to happen? What are we watching shit for to happen like this? Why is Congress just watching? There's more to think about. There's more about this than anyone wants to say. Anyway, I'll be working with finding an appointment to get Piotr on the podcast sometime today, and we'll see if we can do another episode as well. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for your support. I have I have my lawyer appointment today regarding my immigration consultation for my U.S. citizenship. Wish me luck. And thank you for everyone and anyone that gave me anything and everything for making this happen. You guys make me feel heard, seen, loved. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you so much. That's genuinely all I can say. And we'll be back. We'll be more. We'll be doing more. Keep an eye this Friday. We have a very special guest coming to our podcast. Professor Deborah Shushan will be on our podcast again at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time this coming Friday. We'll be discussing the Middle East. Maybe it's a good question to ask her how to talk to extreme members of the Zionist movement and how to have a dialogue with the extreme members of the Zionist movement. That would be a good question for her because she's one of the experts on the matter. Like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching a recording. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, give it a subscribe. We finally exceeded 10,000 subscribers, and we make a lot of money with your support there. So take a minute, go there, place a like, comment, share. It helps more than you think, and it pays the bills that if you can't afford with giving us any funds or money, that is one way that you can help us make money. Um, we have update regarding one of our listeners. Um, what's Mr. Will Steyer. He is doing better. He had the situation where he went to the ICU, and but he's still in the hospital on meds. He said he may even made a joke. He said, "After I have them shave my beard off, I'll grab a screenshot if I can. My beard isn't as good looking as yours." I did ask if he needed anything, he would let us know. But I'll keep you guys posted. Like I said, we are a community. This is no fan club. This is no fans here. This is a community looking to make a difference, make this world better. So if you are in a bad situation, let us know. We would like to stand with you and support you. Yes, prayer and wishes and good energy, all too well if you could. Thank you so much. مع السلامة, bye bye بالإنجليزي, goodbye. And remember, you may not fuck with politics, but politics will always fuck with you. This was Get Informed with Wajih. I'm Wajih Lion. We'll see you later today.